Good afternoon, everybody. Nice to be here. Thank you, Mr. Greifenberger. As mentioned, my name is Christian Pahl. I'm the CEO of Unidevice. You can see the most important products for us. This is the Apple line. We are an international broker for the most important products in mobile communication, which are getting more and more important for each one of us from year to year, with more and more data capacity. Now we are at 5G. That makes it more and more comfortable to use mobile devices. And as a broker for these communications and consumer electronics, we are using arbitrage possibilities internationally in the meaning of price and in the meaning of availability. So I will present aspects of the business model, of the market development, the finances, and of course give an outlook. So high-priced smartphones are our focus, and the best products come from Apple because they have the highest price stability and they have very loyal consumers. We are in this business focused since 2009. We have a small team with about 25 people in the locations in Berlin and in Kassel. I joined the team in 2017. In the prior year, 2016, the company had sales of 135 million, and since then has grown from year to year with an average of 22% in 2022, finalizing with 460 million revenue, and earnings before interest, tax, and interest and tax, before interest and tax, developed from 0.7 million to 4.7 million. So over proportional, over the revenue, the profit was increased. And in the month of October, we had 47.7 million. In November, 50.9 million. So it looks that we will be below 2022 because we are in a recession in Germany and in other countries also. So the consumers have a high burden and less money to spend. So I expect that we will have 10% less sales. And instead of, let's say, 3 million, about 2 million net profit. But for the coming year, we are very optimistic that purchase power will increase. And here you see a little bit how our work goes. Each day we are asking the telephone companies, wholesalers and retailers, so we are in the B2B business, about their demand. And if they order from an Apple distributor, then they will, in many cases, not get the full order. So orders need to be placed in China for the production. And from us, they get the products immediately and always with a little bit of cost benefit because we are using international price differences. We are buying from distributors where prices are a little bit lower than in Germany or also some other countries. And so when we have the demand from our customers, we then ask for quotations from distributors who always have a liquidity need because they have to pay very fast. And in many countries, you need to wait 30, 60 days, up to 90 days for your payments. So they always have a little bit of liquidity crunch. And we are immediate payers, so very welcome with that. We get good quotations and then we make the deal completion and get the products always to our warehouse in the area of Kassel. And then we do the deliveries to our customers. The brokerage aspects is being seen in our very fast turnover. So between 3 and 8 days, we need to fully turn over our warehouse. So this is not a normal wholesale business. It's a very fast track wholesale business, which research companies often call then a brokerage business. And we are specialized in supply chain optimization. And this works out very well. and we are very happy with this business. Regarding growth, we are oftentimes asked if we shall go to broader product ranges or other labels, but still Apple is a fantastic label with very loyal customers and best price stability. So this is really our focus. We always have the opportunity with Samsung units. Of course, this is the leading company for quantities. And so we also do a little bit Samsung, but with other labels, we are reluctant. We always monitor what's going on in the market, but still Apple is the most fantastic brand. And we buy from their distributors. We don't want to be a direct distributors ourselves. In order to do that, you need to pay a very high entrance fee for that contract. And they don't just sell and deliver what you ask for. You get also products you don't really want. And that's then our point, that we help these distributors to make the fast payments and to get rid of products that they can themselves not turn over so fast. Because also the distributors, which have direct contracts, live from being able to move products fast. If you have a very small margin, you need to have a very quick turnover. And that's what we are helping. And for our customers, wholesalers in need of certain products for certain prices, which they don't get from their normal distributor, we are then someone who can deliver at attractive prices products in need. So for the telephone companies, it's very important for their business of working with their customers to get a renewal in the contract, to be able to deliver the subsidized mobile phones that their customers request. So that's the biggest driver behind the business. And here you can see Hamid Samjam is my partner in the management. He is a co-founder of the company. Unidevice has 2 subsidiaries, the operative company PPA International, where we are both managing directors, and the service company doing the logistics, Uniservice. And here we have a very engaged team with a lot of knowledge regarding languages. It's a very international business. And every day we are matching the differences in prices and availabilities, which we see internationally. And we are focused, as mentioned before, on the iPhones. This is still the most fantastic consumer communication device we see. And around that, of course, the wearables, a watch, for example, AirPods, very important. Since 2010, when it was really then developed the business, we had a nice growing from year to year. And as mentioned in 2022, sales exceeded 460 million. I see now that we get in this year a little bit a dip to 420 million. And the earnings before interest and tax, which were 4.7 million, will now be above 3 million, but still far above what we intend to pay out as a dividend. The profit is still, I would say, good in respect of the situation of recession that we have in Germany and some other countries. So the market development, the market worldwide consists of sales of about 1.2 billion units of smartphones. From that, about 22 million in Germany. We are able to sell more than 500,000 units just of iPhones, and 90% of our sales are smartphones. So, of course, wearables are coming in addition. And in many countries, the number of units is stagnant, but we have to keep in mind that the prices, at least for iPhones, are always going up. And with the same percentage of margin, the profits go up as well, even if we would not be able to get more units sold, but also units sold are going up for us. So we are increasing our market share over many years since 2010. And this is very interesting for us to see that each year we have new products which enable new interests to come to replace old products. And here we see the market volume. So in Europe, there's a market volume of, let's say, 75 billion euro. And the market share of Germany is about 12 billion, which is nearly 16%. And it's a market that doesn't grow very much, but within this very huge market, we have the opportunity to grab more and more market share. And that's what we are aiming for. Here you can see the prices. So about 460 euro is the average price for a smartphone in Europe. And in Germany, we always had, because of the purchase power, a little bit more higher prices. And there was an interesting uptick in 2022 to more than 626 euro, which is interesting. And of course, the iPhone 10 already 5 years ago was cracking the 1,000 euro mark. Here you can see that there was a certain increase, and also for us, this was realized in smartwatches and headsets. I expect that this will go on after a small dip in 2022. I think for the coming years, more and more people will then be willing to buy smartwatches and more Bluetooth headsets. Regarding refinances, we have an equity quota of more than 50%. And we have quite a high balance sheet sum, because we need high inventories. If we sell quickly, we sell them more than once a week. And then we have the company value from the integration of PPA, which delivers all the profits. And this is incorporated with a company value of 14.95 million since it was incorporated, and produces more than 3 million earnings before interest and tax in this year, and 4.66 million in 2022. Here you can see that in the 9 months of this year, we delivered sales of 285 million and a net profit of only 1 million for the 9 months. And just in the month of October, the net profit was 360,000. I expect this to be achievable also in average for November and December. In November, the sales went up to 59 million. But still, I have to admit, even if we then produce a net profit of 1 million in the last quarter, the same what we delivered in the first 9 months, it will only be 2 million compared to 2.9 million in the prior year. So yeah, the recession hits a little bit, but still we are able to pay very attractive dividends. This year in July, on the last annual shareholder meeting, we had a dividend decided of 12 cents per share, and we are also able to pay that in the coming years. Of course, on each annual shareholder meeting, the shareholders have to decide upon that. And here you can see that, yes, we have only a gross margin between, let's say, nearly 2% to 2.7%. So last year, 2.3%. And with that comes an earning before interest and tax margin of about 1%. So that means when we produce high revenues, sales above 400 million, then it becomes interesting to have then an EBIT of more than 4 million euro. And in some years, we are able to produce higher margins depending on the purchase power of the people. and in some years it's a little bit more difficult. So in 2023, we are also not able to produce more than this 2.3% gross margin. So these are some relevant yield numbers. And the outlook, now we have the iPhone 15, which is of course capable for 5G. And someone who has an older iPhone does not have the ability to use 5G. So this is a motivating aspect to get a new telephone contract and a new mobile phone. And we are very much looking forward for Q1 of the next year, where the Apple Vision Pro glasses will be released. And as Apple communicated, firstly, they will only be sold in the United States. And we have very good sourcing possibilities in the United States, and then we'll be able to sell them in other regions where they are still not in the shop, and where many people, even with this high price, $3,500 was announced. And even with this high price, there are people who are open for new technologies, for new products. And Apple always is a high price product line, but with very loyal customers who like the technological features of Apple products. And we are looking forward for this opportunity in Q1 of 2024. This is a typical example of our business to use different possibilities to get the products. And also when the launch of a new iPhone comes in September, this gives then good opportunities in October to use different availabilities of the products, and also in addition price differences. So that's from my part the presentation. Thank you very much, and I'm hoping to hear some questions.
Yes, thank you very much. Great presentation. So far, there are no questions in the chat. There's one. Does the bond maturing next year play a role in the level of payout ratio?
Yeah, we have a bond with a payment of 3.4 million euro scheduled for next year, December. And we will have the interest payment now coming up on the, I think, 18th of December. So also around 18th of December will then be the date for the payment of the bond. And we have enough bank credit lines and also the commitment of our 3 banks that we are working with to increase, if necessary, the credit lines. And now that the Euribor went up, the interest is comparable between the bond and the bank lines. So we will pay back the bond. And beside that, we are also able, from my understanding and from my advertising for that, for paying, let's say, for example, 12 cents dividend next year in July. So that's my answer to that. We are able to pay back the bond and the same dividend level which we had this year in July.
And another question regarding your 59 million in sales in November. The question is, what are the net results for November?
Yeah, they are. These are still not out, but I would say it should be about 400,000 euro. But it's not yet booked everything, so that's my estimation about.
Okay. And what do you think about a share buyback program?
Yeah, we don't see that. So we need our liquidity to get at certain times as much products as possible. For example, in Q4, the most important part, we had a very good development in Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Now we will have Christmas And there we need each euro we have for the turnover of our products. So we don't want to buy back shares. We want to pay an attractive dividend yield and be able to grow further. So I don't see buybacks of shares, but the continuation of very attractive dividend yield.
Yeah, you just talked about the dividend. What is your strategy on the dividend? Is there a certain ratio, or what's your plan?
Yes. When we started with the dividend, our plan was to have always a ratio of 50% of the net profit. And then, of course, you have an accumulation in your equity position from prior year non-distributed profits. And this gives us, from my understanding, the possibility also in next year, where we have to decide on the shareholder meeting to give more than 50% in order to match the prior year dividend yield. So I would advocate for paying more than half the net profit, because we have prior year profits that were not distributed. But the general idea was to pay 50% of the net profit. But as we have so much non-distributed profits, I would advocate next year to pay what the prior year dividend payment was.
Okay. And what's your stance on M&A strategy? Are there targets in the market that could be interesting to you?
No, we are very lucky that we are operating internationally. We know smaller wholesalers and to a less degree international wholesalers who are suffering far more than we do. As I openly declared, our sales might be 10% below prior year, and the net profit might be 30% less. But others who are more focused on Germany without this degree on international business are suffering much more from recession aspects and decreasing purchase power of consumers. So we are happy with exactly what we do, and we don't have someone else in the market acting like that. So therefore, we don't see M&A activities. There is no other player in this way of working that we would know and see as an objective to take over.
So you talked about already a bit about it. There are no real competitors. What would be the closest thing of being a competitor to Unidevice?
I don't want to name them, but there is one in Germany that was nearly our size in the prior years. But they had certain shops they delivered to, and so they have a system that they deliver to smaller shops, and we don't deliver to smaller shops. We deliver to companies like Notebooksbilliger.de, so companies with a B2C business on a larger scale, or to telephone companies. So we are different, and so the German shop as a customer is less attractive nowadays in respect of the recession. So this is why we don't see that company as a target.
Yeah. And how do you approach the ESG considerations within your strategic framework?
Well, we don't have shops, so that means that we always deliver in big chunks to telephone companies and to B2C chains like Notebooksbilliger.de. So our deliveries of products are only producing a very small amount of pollution, I would say, from the distribution, which we do with UPS or with our own vehicles. So there is not so much movement because it's always pallet sized. And our people don't move. Our 25 people are always in the office. They don't have to create pollution by traveling to shops or so on. So I would say in these respects of environmental impact, it's very small of our company.
And looking at the new iPhone, the iPhone 15, there are less extreme colors like in the past, like gold or strong red colors. Does that impact your business model? Since I think it also is important to trade certain colors through certain regions, right?
Well, the iPhone 15 is attractive for those consumers who always want the newest product, which it's improvement. But in this year, we also see that a lot of customers decide for the iPhone 14 Pro Max and Pro, so the prior year model. And we had an idea about that. So I think we had a very good tendency of using this. And each year something comes up. In some years it's more the colors. And now in this year it's more that there's an overproportional demand still for the older model, because some people prefer at the lower price the iPhone 14 with its technical abilities than buying the newest iPhone 15, and we made use of that. So we have a very attractive number of iPhone 14 on stock and had them for Black Friday, and worked out very well for us. It was not the colors this year, it was the availability of iPhone 14 models for many customers.
Could that be the case also because there's a different charging model for the 15th model? Because then you have to buy a lot of new charging cables if you switch to 15?
Well, I don't want to go there into technical details. It's just the consumer sees the technical description and then decides what he wants. If he wants the better camera system or is happy with the older one, which already was fantastic. And if he wants to have a new material for the outside cover of the product, or if he thinks it's already very light. So I don't know exactly how each customer comes to its conclusion. I just can say we had an idea that the iPhone 14 would run much better than in prior years, the older model. And that was the case so far this year. And we took profit from that.
Okay. Mr. Paul, thank you very much. Great presentation.
Yes, thank you very much for everybody for spending time and letting me present Unidevice. Mr. Greifenberger, thank you very much.